So we talked about numbers and numbering chords so that you know how to move from one chord to another chord. We're going to talk a little bit about the blues right now. So if you think about the 12-bar blues, it's a standard structure that may have some minor tweaks, but is a relatively straightforward structure that many artists use and have been used for years. And some of the early rock and roll are also based on the same 12-bar blues progression. So what that means is you have a pattern of 12 bars, and in that pattern, you play the 1 chord, or if we're in the key of C, it will be a C chord for 4 bars. And then you will play the 4 chord for 2 bars, and then the 1 chord for 2 bars. And then the 5 chord for 1 bar, the 4 chord for 1 bar, and then the 1 chord for 2 bars. So how that looks is this. C, 2, 3, 4, F, C, G7, F, 2, 3, 4, C, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that's the 12-bar blues progression. Sometimes there are minor tweaks. Sometimes they will jump to the 4 chord as the 2nd bar, etc. You don't have to worry about that. But the easiest way to handle this is to play the song Wipeout. And again, talking about recording, back in the day when they recorded analog, sometimes the tape went faster, sometimes the tape went slower. You may have to look at a couple of versions of Wipeout to find one that is actually tuned in the key of C. But there is a play along for Wipeout in the key of C, and students can play right along. And what the trick is that when they think about the 12-bar blues, they can start predicting when the chord is going to change. So if they're playing 1, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 2, 2, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1. So that progression, thinking those numbers, 1, 4, 5, students can play those chords and play that progression over and over and over again. Like I said, the song Wipeout works. There are also lots of blues. I've got some piano, from when I taught piano lessons, I've got some piano scores, backup tracks with in the key of C and in the key of G, and you can help students learn. But the idea, it helps them learn when they can play along with something else. The main thing being they can't take time to stop and change their fingers. The beat goes on. So the blues is that 1, 4, 5 pattern. As I said, 4 bars in the key of the 1 chord, which is C. The 4 chord, 2 bars in the 4 chord, 2 bars on the 1 chord, and then the 5 chord, the 4 chord, and the 1 chord. So it is a progression. If you look up 12-bar blues online, you'll see all kinds of handouts and all kinds of articles, and some of them are for teachers, and some of them are really straightforward, and some of them are more complicated. But as a ukulele player or working with a group of kids, they can do a lot of improvising. They can create lyrics, and some of the expectations in terms of the curriculum ask them to write lyrics. So they often say the first line, and then the second line rhymes, and then the third line is something completely different. So the kids can do a lot of writing on their own as well once they understand the 12-bar blues progression. So have a look around. I'm not going to reinvent the wheel by giving you all kinds of stuff that's already out there. But if you work on the song Wipeout with them, then when you analyze, look at the pattern of chords and the way they occur, then you will see the 12-bar blues and you'll understand it. so it's not a hard concept, but it is one that really lends itself to students being creative and to actually writing some songs. And I say elastic because I was just thinking I had a blues band come to my school once, and so he said, okay, somebody stand up. So he said, I'm going to write a verse. So he said, somebody stand up. So Chloe put her hand up, and he said, pick Chloe. And he said, what do you like to do? She said, gymnastics. And so then I thought, oh yeah, rhyme with that. You know, I have a friend and her name is, you know, and she likes gymnastics. I have a friend and she likes gymnastics. Well, what do you rhyme with gymnastics? Well, there's fantastic, there's elastic, there's, you know, but we were chuckling as to how he was going to find a word to rhyme with gymnastics. And so he put gymnastics in the beginning of the line and said gymnastics is her game and Chloe is her name. And then it was easier for him to rhyme it. So that was very clever on his part. But again, that's one of those things that you can talk to with the students. They can actually do some of the creating, which is part of their music expectations in Ontario anyway. And they can write poems or write little 3-line lyrics that help them, that they can sing along to their ukulele. So good luck with that. And hopefully you can have some creative experiences with your students. Okay? Take care. Bye-bye.